Well, hello there, my dear children of the apocalypse. How are we doing today? I've got an amazing one for you today. Really a crazy take on something. I never thought about this for a minute, but a while back I was sitting with a bunch of co-workers and we were having a meal. And I was talking to a guy who I believe his job is, he's a programmer, he's into the efficiency point of view, right? And if you know me and you know me from War Thunder, you know that I like to say I was the most efficient player in War Thunder, right? Because I was the first person, and at some point the only person that ever unlocked and spaded all the vehicles. So when I was doing War Thunder, my whole thought process was, can you be the most efficient player in this game? Because that would make me the most efficient player in the world in this game, right? So anyway, I was talking to this guy, and he said something so wild, so crazy, that it made me disagree with him immediately. But the longer I sat there thinking about it, the more I began to think, holy crap, this actually might be genius. We were talking about movies. We were talking about watching movies, and he said, I watch everything in 1.5 speed, right? So everything he watches at 150%, meaning that his movie is quicker than mine. He gets through an entire movie 50% faster than I will. And I sat there and I was like, no, why would you do that? Like, why would you ruin the experience of the original soundtrack, the experience of the slow, romantic or intense monologue, like conversation, dialogue? Why would you ruin all that by playing something at faster speed? It's, I understand it for like a YouTube tutorial video made by some Indian dude who speaks very slow English. Yeah, in that case, sure, you speed up the video, you just click through it, but why? And then we sat there, we're having the beer, and we're talking, I'm like, I'm starting to think, how many movies have I watched where I wouldn't really have lost anything if I had watched it at 150%? How much content could we realistically consume at 150% speed that would be so much better? These videos, for example, are between 8 and 12 minutes long. And on average, I have to cut the video about, let's say, 5 or 7 times, meaning 5 or 7 times on average. I'll make a mistake, or I'll say something wrong, or I'll change my mind halfway through the video. So I'll just cut it, glue it together, and most of you won't even notice that I've stopped talking, that I've, moved by a slight inch because it's a different scene. I'd like to think that I'm relatively efficient or compact. These videos contain a lot of information in a short portion of time, and there's no need for them to be sped up because I already speak very quickly, hopefully also concise, but that's a topic for a different day. I think that the concept of playing something at 150% speed might be the hack to get a lot of information in very quickly. Really, the more I think about it, the more I think it's just genius. There is a portion of it that just makes sense. Let's take reading books, for example. I've read 5 books in the last 5 months, which is 5 books more than I've read in the last 5 years because I just wasn't reading. I find reading to be slow. I find it boring. I couldn't get my head into it. I'd just fall asleep, or I would just get bored of it, or just distracted by something. Now, there is this new reading idea where I think it bolds certain portions of the words to enable you to read faster. Another way to do it, which I spoke to a friend of mine said, hey, I love reading books, but my English is pretty bad. Do you have any advice? And I was like, read out loud. And you're going to read 50% slower. It's going to take you 50% more time to read the book. But you're going to be speaking the book out and you're going to be practicing your voice. So, that's because you're doing 2 things at the same time. If you're just reading the book and you're just trying to get the information through, I think learning how to read fast to get the information quick and to be able to filter through the pages and say, okay, 3% of this page is very smart, the rest 97% is boring. How do I read through the 97% that are boring as quick as possible and then consume the 3% as intensively as possible? So I think if you're reading a particular author, and this might be an argument to say, read all the books from one author instead of jumping from one to the other, because you're going to learn how this person writes, and you're going to learn which parts you can skip in terms of information and which parts are important. Same as with watching videos, and I think we do this with videos more often. You know, we find our new favorite YouTuber and then we just binge watch everything they have. And I don't think binge watching is inherently a bad thing. Now, if you did binge watching the same person and you did it at 150% speed, one could argue you could get through a whole lot more content in a whole lot of a shorter time. And is this efficient? I don't know. But hopefully one of you does an experiment and comes back here and lets me know, because I'm genuinely curious if we could use this type of concept to get more info quicker. Because even if you sacrifice some of that knowledge that might skip, some of that art, you know, that might, you know, just whiz by you because you were too quick in the consumption phase, I think realistically the time that you save might very well be worth it. So I thought it was a really interesting concept. I mean, to consume something at a higher rate of speed. Obviously this won't work for everything. You know, I personally would never want to listen to music at a faster pace. It would ruin the experience. And I think certain movies definitely you cannot watch this way. But I think maybe trying it, you know, playing back something at 1.1% or 1.2%, you know, just slowly incrementing the speed of the video in order to get more of it in a shorter period of time. Because if you think about it, the current future, or the current reality, and looks to be the future, of content are reels, shorts, short form content that's very intense and very bombarded with information within a span of, you know, 6, 12, 20 seconds. So the question is, could this be an alternative, and perhaps a healthier alternative, that instead of watching 3 30-second clips from a 12-minute video, you just squeeze the 12-minute video into 8 minutes? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. It's a bit of a wild idea. I'm still not entirely sold on it. I'll have to do my own testing and obviously hear the opinions of the others. Until next time, take care and safe flying.